It's your boy Wings of Redemption. What's up? Welcome back. We're going to do another fucking fantastic commentary today. And here we go. Let's go and kick it off. What's in the news? Well, fuck the news. I got something on my mind I want to talk about. I was recently watching it on Netflix and I seen a documentary about how 70% of all pro athletes go broke after their career. 70%. Some people say the numbers are higher. Some people say the numbers are lower. But everybody agrees over half of everybody that ever plays sports is broke. I think the time was within 5 years of being out of their career after retirement. So it got me thinking, money management. I see it poorly all the time. I used to be pretty good friends with a guy that was a manager at a GameStop. And he'd tell me about tax time. When tax time would roll around, he would sell the dickens out of PlayStations and Xbox 360s. These were the main consoles at the time. And he'd see the same people come back in and argue with him about the retail cost of the said PlayStation and Xbox 360. People live for the moment. And it got me thinking to the structure. There's really, I think Boogie even talked about it, there's really three types of people. And I kind of diagnosed myself. I fall into the first category of people. And that mainly is a different series. I fall into the first category, but I inspire to be the third category, which is bad in itself. But when you have money, when you don't work for anything, you tend to destroy it. Case in point, my sister, she has a brand new 2012 Chevy Cruze. My stepfather bought it for her. And since he bought it for her, in 2012 brand new, she has pretty much destroyed this thing. She's got a big old dent in the right side. She's gotten in 3 wrecks. She's spray painted the interior. There's trash all over it. Luckily she doesn't watch my videos, but you know, she has destroyed this thing. If she would have worked for that car, she would have been 8 times more likely to take care of it and stress when things happen to it. You shouldn't have to get in a wreck to buy tires for a car. I'm putting that out there. But back to the categories. There's 3 types of categories of people. There's me. It's a person that knows that they're going to be broke again tomorrow. So every time they get something, they buy something to show wealth. This was the person I was for so long in my life. I wanted to have the illusion of wealth. And that's exactly what it was. You buy the flashy trucks, you buy the flashy clothes, you buy the things that you don't really need or don't really have a bearing on your life, but you feel like if you have this, you'll be all right. And I think pro athletes fall into this category a lot of if I only had that car, I'll be all right. Because in that same documentary, a guy by the name of Warren Sapp said he spent his last $70,000 in his account to buy an H2, which is a Hummer, and I think it was 2005 or something like that. And it's like, wow, you'd spend the last 70 grand in your account to buy a car because he had to have it. And like, I can sympathize him with that. There's been stupid choices I've made because I had to have it. And like, it comes in another menu. Let me go ahead and talk about this. One of my personal cases of had to haves. iPhone 5. iPhone 5. I bought it out of contract, so I paid somewhere in the upwards of the ballparks of $840 for my 64 gig iPhone 5. Keep in mind, iPhones have about 1.5 years lifespan. But I told myself, and I convinced myself, that if I had this iPhone 5, and I paid cash for it, which I had at the time, nobody could take it from me. And that's how I convinced myself to buy the iPhone 5. If that's not convincing enough about monies, let's go and go about with my vehicles. I get flack for this all the time, that I spent most of my YouTube money on vehicles, which isn't true. But I mean, if you want to get technical, I've spent more. I've spent upwards of the ballpark of $80,000 paying taxes, which is 4 times the amount I've spent on vehicles during the period of doing YouTube. But I digress. Vehicles. let's see how much money I've wasted in vehicles. And I'm going to say wasted because I'm going to give you a couple examples here. The truck I currently drive is a 2002 Chevrolet Silverado. I've had it about 11 years now. It has 125,000 miles on it, and it runs like a top. It's ran like a top the entire time I've owned it. I think its entire lifespan I've changed a water pump and a heater core. And that's it. Everything else has worked flawlessly. It's never stranded me on the side of the road. But back in 2010, I felt the need that it was time I wanted something new. I had the income, I had the money, and I convinced myself if people who get new cars are people like me with this kind of income. Because from everywhere else in point in my life, I wasn't in the ballpark of the people that bought or drove new cars. I always drove the secondhand stuff. But I wanted to do it smartly. And I broke one of my golden rules. One of the golden rules that I have is you buy it right the first time or you buy it twice. So instead of getting what I wanted, I went out and got an off-brand. I found a 2008 Roush Stage 3 Limited. And I bought it. I put somewhere in the ballparks of $8,000 or $9,000 down. I financed the rest. My payments were something along the lines of $350 a month. It was a 2008 truck, and this was 2010, so it was only 2 or 3 years old. And so I'm driving this truck. I drove it for like a year and a half, and then I traded up for a brand new EcoBoost F-150 Lariat. The truck I wanted originally. Obviously, the EcoBoost wasn't out yet, but I wanted that body style. I wanted that rounded body style Lariat. And my years might be off some, so don't correct me on that. And then I bought a Tahoe. And the Tahoe was a mistake. I thought I had met somebody I was going to marry. Their car was a piece of shit. Promises were made. Basically, she put the money down, and I would make the payments. And the Tahoe was, it's kind of hard sitting there explaining your life mistakes over and over again. But all in all, I'm going to go and stay in the ballpark. I've spent $25,000 on cars since I started doing YouTube. And that's a lot of money. I wish I had that $25,000 right now, because you know what? I'm driving the same truck I was driving when I started YouTube right now. And that's pretty much $25,000 down the drain. But it's a learning experience. When I think about it, I chalk it up to I paid $25,000 to learn a lesson. And that's what it was. And that lesson's learned. And I feel like I learned it at a young age instead of an older age. So now it won't fool me again. But I want to go ahead and show you the value of cars. My 2002 Silverado. I bought it a year old as a certified GM vehicle. It was my pretty much graduation present. And my mother she co-signed for it. I made every one of the payments. The payments were $460 for 5 years. They didn't offer 6 years at that time. I got it in 2004. So I made the payments, and before you go to get the math, I think with interest and everything else, I paid something like $27,000 for the truck. So the truck was like $21,400 when I bought it, and then you got to add interest rate in and everything like that. So I get that done. So I'm $27,000 into this truck. Over a span of 11 years, I've probably spent another $10,000 in gas in the truck. I've put probably in the ballpark of $2,000 in wheels, and I've probably put along the bark of $5,000 or $6,000 in upgrades, such as stereo, computer, brakes, things of that nature, hideaway winch. So I have about $40,000 into my Silverado. Do you know what it's worth right now? If I was to sell it right now in a hurry, I might get $6,500 out of it. That's what kind of investment a vehicle is. Chris Move did a commentary one time where he said, avoid the vehicle, buy the house. And that's a good motto. Why is a house a better buy? You might ask yourself, well, a house is a better buy because it holds its value. The thing with a house versus a vehicle is when you put $100,000 into a house and you get in a bind, you can almost get $100,000 back out of the house, which is not always true, but it's more true than a car. A car is always going to be a worse investment. And I think the moral of this commentary is, watch your money, dudes. Cars don't get you girls. Cars don't get you anything of that nature. Money in the bank is more important of quality of life, if anything else. Not even importance of standing. Money in the bank will improve your quality of life more than a car will. I'm not saying don't ever get a car, but be smart about the cars that you purchase. And think about what it is. Because that brand new Benz, that Benz that you see and you gleam and you drool about, will you want that thing in 5 years? No, there'll be a new Benz there to take its place. Just like the iPhone 6 is probably going to roll out here in another year or so. And my iPhone 5 is going to be 100% obsolete since the iPhone 5S is already out. You know, food for thought. It's been your boy Wings of Redemption. Thank you guys for watching my video. And as always, share it with